We're really lucky to be from a place like this because we had so much support. And coming out of the Midwest, I mean, a lot of great people have come out of here, but it's not like you're living in northern New Jersey and you're going into New York and you're trying to get attention and no one really cares. And well, I shouldn't say that. I mean, we got a lot of attention in New York, but there's a support. And even when we did our first album, we sold it in advance. We did crowdfunding before it was a thing, and we sold it all in advance, and we were able to record it. And we went down there. Ryan probably told this story. We went down to Precision Tapes. Tape. They're not
tapes.
called. I think they're called Precision Media if they're still in existence. But down in the Twin Cities, we drove down with the master. Here it is. Now can we wait to pick up our tapes? That's a true story.
Because you'll make them right now, right? You're going to go into the back.
Duping. They're like, it'll be a few weeks. We're like, oh, really? That's how that works. I mean, talk about green. So that's a pretty good story. I mean, we literally brought our master in and thought that was going to happen right there.
What year was that?
Probably 1990.
Okay,
something like that.
Did you even have a single CD at the time, or was that like
that was it?
Just
that was
tapes?
The first one. So when the CDs weren't even really a thing. I mean, they were around, but when we recorded our first album, what happened was I had transferred to go to school in St. Paul at University of St. Thomas, and we were still, the group was together and everything, and we were kind of talking about different things we could do, and I was maybe going to try to get a little bit more of a foothold for us down there, and then we got this opportunity at Trollwood, which was the Music Man. Now, Ryan and I and Alan had done a lot of shows at Trollwood, and we just were like, hey, we've got this opportunity to have a little fun and perform all summer and make a little bit of money. And we ended up making more money because they let us work the line and do all these things and put the hat out and everything. But the great thing was that we were able to record our first album, or our first tape, and that was totally whipped, which we sold to all the parents and everybody that was interested. And we just had a list. I think everybody got their recording.
The Blenders, they're up and running. You guys have tapes. It's a big deal. I think we've got one of your early gigs on videotape at my house. You guys performed for my sister's birthday party.
At the lake? Or
at the lake.
Okay.
Yep.
We had some good
Labor
times
Day
at the
weekend.
Lake. Yep.
And it's great because myself and a girl named Molly Gunkelman, who is my dad's best friend's daughter, you can see us. We're behind the screen door where you guys are. For some reason, we didn't come outside for the concert, but you can clearly see us at times,
probably
kind of like hanging out there. But there was like 70, 80 people that they brought down to the lakes for you guys.
Yeah.
What was the moment where you decided, we want to keep this thing going? It's not something that we want to give up.
There was a specific moment for me where I literally thought, hey, we're pretty good. This sounds pretty good, and people might pay us to do this. For
nope,
real.
You said it right the first time.
Like, yeah, right. That wasn't interesting. Right. People might pay to do us. Good catch. We had been paid, but this was a whole nother level. And that is when we had really good guys in before, and we were called the Blenders, but Darren Rust, who he was obviously still in the group, and then Paul Dunkirk, who's not with us in the group anymore. I shouldn't say isn't with us. He's with us. In fact, I think he's playing in Fargo tonight with a band, or I'm sorry, when we recorded this.
Yep, there you go.
Yeah, there you go. We should have asked when we recorded it. Maybe I've got plugs or something like that. Anyway, he was back. And so when we sang the four of us together, I was like, oh, wow. And a lot of it had to do with Darren. I mean, also the fact that a lot of people have made the comment over the years that the Blenders don't really have a clear lead singer. And I think that was part of it too, was the fact that we blend from the beginning. I think all of us wanted to put the egos aside and just make it sound good. And so we had that bottom end, Darren, and then the rest of us just kind of falling in line, blending. And, that's really where the name came from originally too. But that was the moment, it was like, oh, okay. Wow. This sounds pretty good.
And, all these years later, it's become, as I mentioned earlier, an institution. It's not people's holiday season if they're not out seeing a Blender show.
I appreciate that. I mean, it took me a long time to figure that out. But growing up in Christmas holiday and the Gaspers, who are my parents-in-law, we can get into that. But it used to be called Red River Dance and Performing Company. And that was the thing. That was the tradition, the thing to do. And I would say it took me until about 5-6 years ago where I thought, oh, I get it. this is the tradition for people to come and see the Blenders now for the holiday show. And I really appreciate that. It is amazing thing.